Hi YouTube, Gordon Miller here again. Okay, so today what we're going to do is we are going to talk about what it is that investors look for in the perfect pitch deck. So I've got this question a lot. Rather than type it all out, I'll probably make a post in Quora about it because people have been asking. But as we've gotten over 200 submissions now so far from people that have sent me their ideas, and I'm all about getting to the quick no, but what people have asked for is, well, I got to know because you didn't tell me what you wanted. Well, part of the actual, submission process is I want to see what you give me without me telling you what I want. I mean, I want to see who's ahead of the game, who's organized, who's got the right people, who has the right input to be able to go by and so on. So I have gotten some amazing pitch decks, and I wish I could share some of them with everybody. There are 2 or 3 that I really absolutely would love to show, and I'm going to contact those folks and see if I can do another video about their pitch deck if they'll let me do that. I just can't say enough about how good some of the decks are. And so I really don't want to give a recipe. Now, I will say that Guy Kawasaki gives a great overview about what a 10-slide pitch deck should be in his book, The Art of the Start. So first of all, I would go out and buy that book if you haven't already. If you've bought it, make sure you read it, because it doesn't do any good just to buy it. You have to read it. But it's a phenomenal book. I don't know Guy personally, but I've known him through the Apple circles and the folks that we knew at Apple together from back in the day. We started working with Apple in 1993, 94 when we first got started. In 1994, when we had one of our biggest engagements with Apple, Guy had come back to Apple during that period, I believe in 94 to 97, where he was gone and came back. I forget what years it was, but he was in there somewhere. But a phenomenal book, and everybody should read it. It should be mandatory in every college for folks to read it in the entrepreneurship programs. So I love the book. I think it's amazing. So in that, I'll talk about some of the things that he says you should have, and then I'll talk about why I don't think some of them are really that important, but we'll go from there. So the first one is what it is. And so having a slide about what it is gives people some perspective, begins to frame what it is that you're going to be talking about. Is it a mobile app? Is it a service? Is it a product? So just giving people an idea about what it is that you're about to orient them to. Then it's, what problem are you trying to solve? Now, it's important to have a problem, and starting with a problem and knowing how you solve the problem is part of what creates the demand for whatever it is that you're going to be making or selling. The next one is the solution. So how does your product or service solve that problem? And that's an important aspect of that. I love solutions that solve problems, but not every solution that you have that solves a problem is something you're going to be able to make any money at. Just because it's a great solution to a problem doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to make you a whole lot of money. The other thing is the business model. So that's the fourth one is, what is the business model? How are you going to make any money? Do you really know what the expenses are going to be? Do you really know how much you can charge for this? And what does that look like in terms of how much money you're going to make? Very important. A lot of the assumptions that people make about those is really important. So for me, it's something that I like to see people do on their own and see what they come up with for the business model. The other one is the fifth slide that Guy says is what is the underlying magic? So I like to think of that as what makes you different from everybody else. It's important to know why yours is unique, or what is it about it. It could be whatever's patentable for your thing, but it's always important to figure out what it is that is the underlying magic about what you've got to offer. Then there's always a marketing and sales slide. How are you going to sell it? How are you going to market it? Everybody's like, oh, we're going to market it on social media. Well, that's great, but unless you really know what you're doing in social media, it's unlikely that that's going to lead directly to sales. It could, but it really just depends on what your strategy is in that. The seventh slide is about the competitors. And the competitors is understanding where you fit into the solution landscape. The thing that I hate to see the most is like somebody had an app that they pitched me the idea on. They already had the mock-up running, and there's like 10 other apps that control like 90% of the market for that. And I'm like, you're not one of these guys, and yours isn't even as good as these are, so how are you ever going to expect to get any market share? I just don't understand that. So I didn't work with them because I just don't think that there's room for an 11th or those are just the top 10 that control 90% of the market. The rest of the 20 or 30 versions of apps control the bottom 10%. So, being another one fighting for your 1% of the market share is just not a good place to be. So the eighth slide is about the team, who everybody is, and I like to focus on not just who you are, and that you were classmates in college, and that you have a degree in finance, and the CTO has a degree in computer science, but I like to understand who has the connections to people in the industry that are going to allow you to make these deals that you're going to have to make, because it's all about partnering with people. Then the ninth slide is about projections. How much do you think it's going to cost? What's your projections for revenue? What's the cost projections, either monthly or quarterly? You need at least 2 years of projections, and you need to have a realistic expectation about what leads to sales and how far you can go and things like that. And then the other one is a status, a timeline, and what you're doing to build momentum. And so that really has to do with where are you now, where are you in the overall timeline, and what's going to carry you forward, and how is the money going to really help do that. For me, I really only care about 3 slides. For me, I want to know what the business model is. How am I going to make money? And so I've seen so many great solutions that you could just never make any money with. So, what's the point? I've also seen, as far as the team, I want to know who knows who, or who can reach out to who to be able to make your solution a success, because it's all about partnering. I would rather do a deal where we make 3 phone calls and there's partners involved, and even if we have to give away something to make something happen, it's a lot easier to do that as partners. And so partnering with other people is really important. Then the other thing is really the problem and the solution. There has to be a problem you're solving. There has to be a solution involved that is a problem, and then you have to know where your competitors are in that overall landscape. But really, for me, it comes down to the team. It comes down to the projections and how you're going to use the money and how you're going to make money, and on the problem and solution. So really, about 4 of the slides are what's really important to me, because I want to see the other ones eventually, sure. But for me, if you don't have the right business model, if you're not solving the right problem, if you don't have the right people on the team, and a lot of people come to me saying, I'd like you to, put up, $500,000, and I want you to have the connections with everybody. I want you to bring all the money. I want you to help solve these problems. That's not the way it works. I'm happy to participate in the success of the company, but if all you've got is an idea and you don't have the connections, or you don't have the vision, or you don't have the execution to be able to make it all happen, then why would I want to partner with you? The idea here is if I can help somebody achieve what they're doing by helping move them forward, then that's great. But if I don't have connections in a certain area and you don't have connections in a certain area, then how are we ever going to find the right partners to be able to help make us successful? So for me, it's about having the right opportunity, the right solution, the right people, and making sure that you're actually going to make money. So too many of the deals that I've seen talk about the fact that that they're going to, for instance, I had one today that was talking about having a product in the marketplace that the current product right now it has a fee associated with it of about $36 or $39. And they're going to bring a product to market that's more energy efficient and more eco-friendly for $100. Well, I understand that, but there's not enough people who care enough about the planet that are going to spend 3 times the amount of money. People aren't going to spend 2.5 times the amount of money. They're going to spend the $39 instead of spending $100. I mean, it just is, it's inconceivable. I just don't see people going out of their way to spend almost 3 times as much money for the exact same capability. So I think that people really have to have an understanding in a practical sense about what it is that they're trying to do and what problem they're trying to solve. I have seen some terrific pitches out of the ones from Quora, and I can't thank you guys enough. In the last 2 months, I've viewed over 200 pitches. We've gotten it down to about 10 that I've followed up with individually, and we have two already that are moving forward. So the others may move forward as we figure out, which ones are worth funding. But I mean, understand that I usually see 200 deals a year, pick 20 and then invest in 2. But we're already, well ahead of that in just 2 months on Quora. So the quality of what people are bringing to the table is exponentially higher than what I was able to see before. It's also exponentially lower. Some of the stuff is a quick no. But like I said, I'm all about the truth unfiltered, and so I apologize to those of you that got a quick no, but I would rather give you a quick no and yank that Band-Aid off really quickly so you guys can get back to finding a better version of your solution and also a more beneficial business model. So the last thing I want to share on this in terms of pitch decks is a question that I got. Somebody actually asked the question. Somebody had approached me, and I jokingly asked the question. I said, "Why don't you post to Quora and ask people if I'm stealing their ideas?" And of course, somebody actually posted to Quora saying, "Is Gordon Miller stealing ideas?" Well, I can assure you, I'm not stealing your ideas. I'm here to provide, a resource and to try to help people. And one of the things that I made as a comment in one of the comments on that post was the fact that in graduate school, one of the first things that they taught us was not to think our idea was the best in the world. In fact, we had like 10 or 15 minutes to develop an idea in architecture school, and then board and talk about them and talk about how we were going to develop them and so on. Then they would make us switch with somebody else at random, and we would have to develop their idea and they would have to develop our idea, or vice versa. And so we got used to exchanging ideas and saw how people made it better. And then once that other person developed my idea, I had to go back and take my idea back and then develop it further and make it better. And so I had the original idea, the idea that was taken and given to somebody else, and then what I did with their idea. And to see the progress was unbelievable. It was a great exercise. And Sal Chowdhury was one of the ones that did that. Sal, unbelievable. I love you. It was a great class. It was probably one of the most amazing moments in my life where I thought my ideas were fantastic until I saw what somebody else did with my idea. And then that helped me get some other idea about what to do with it and move it way beyond wherever I could have taken it. So that's what I'm trying to do for people working with these videos on YouTube and with the postings on Quora. I'm here to take a look at anybody's ideas that want to submit something. Anything can be submitted to ideas@g3.com. And I'll be glad to look at it, get to a quick no if there's a no, provide you some feedback and some constructive criticism. If there's something that can be done, great. If not, I'll let you know if I think it's a really bad idea or if it's not workable or if there's something wrong with it. But if it's really good, like a dozen or so that I've seen so far, I'll let you know that too. And just because I may not have the time or the resources to be able to do them all, doesn't mean I don't love the ideas. I mean, I think there's probably 20 ideas, all 20 of the ones that I picked, I think I'd love to do. I just don't have the time. I mean, I would love to do them. I would love to fund all of them, but I just, it's not just a matter of the money, it's a matter of all the time. And I really appreciate all the work that everybody's put into this. And I really appreciate the opportunity to have you share those with me. It really means a lot to me. And all I want to do is make your ideas better and give them back to you and let you go forward and make them even better than that. And if you can avoid some of the mistakes that people have made along the way, and see, by people submitting ideas to me, I don't share anybody else's ideas with anybody, but I do know what I've seen and what works and doesn't work. So I'm able to provide that input to folks, and that makes their ideas better. And that's what I'm here for. You're getting the benefit of all of the knowledge of the almost 2,000 submissions now at this point over the last 8 years, and that's that's the benefit of working with somebody like me. So, anyway, this is Gordon Miller from G3. Thank you all so much on Quora. Follow me on LinkedIn. Follow me on Quora. Subscribe to the channel. Like and comment. Really appreciate all the work from everybody. Thank you so much, and I'll catch you on the next video.